Welcome back everyone to theCUBE's live coverage here in Paris, France. I'm John Furrier, your host of theCUBE. We're here for 2 days exploring all the advances in AI. We're on a global stage, global scale of AI is hitting the scene. Enterprise AI and the international hyperscalers is the big story, as well as the entrepreneurial surge, both inside the enterprise and outside, where people are building all kinds of new value, extracting that value with the data. And of course, we're bringing the data to you live here at theCUBE. Andrey Khusid is here, the founder and CEO of Miro. It's a successful startup. Congratulations, and thanks for coming on theCUBE.
Thank you for having me.
So France, I was a little bit not knowing what to expect. One, leaders are here. Two, there's an entrepreneurial vibe. And we all know if you start a company these days, you don't have to have the big thing. You just got to come in, get some value, easy to create. That's the big trend here from my perspective. I'm curious, what are you seeing as a founder? We'll get into the company in a little bit, but what are you seeing here in Paris? What's your takeaway?
Oh, I see a lot of new companies that I never heard before about, so which is amazing actually, because the entrance for to become a tech entrepreneur is kind of lowering, and I see a lot of companies that are solving real problems. Obviously, they're trying to disrupt those bigger companies who have been here for a while, and it will be a very interesting race to observe, like who will win.
One of my takeaways reminded me is that everyone's an AI company now, so a lot of the, I won't say old guard, because I won't even say modern legacy, because if you're born 3 years ago, even a decade ago, and have a great business, 10,000 customers, saw a bunch of names up there, the public companies, large privates, they weren't doing AI 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's when you started to see the Transformer paper come out, and now they're all AI companies. They have to be, because they know they will be dead if they don't. So I think, to me, squinting through who's really an AI company will be my next thing I'm going to work on. But I think that's a good sign. Hey, you realize the future's here, but some people won't make it.
Yeah. I think the difference between those who will make it and who will not is how they think about reinventing themselves, because if you start with the first principles and think, if you create the company today, how your product should look like, how your business model should look like, how your operating model should look like, then you can make it. Yeah. If you try to a little bit evolve your product and build on top of what you had before, then most likely it will be hard to compete.
Andrey, one of the things that I like about that comment is that we have a new studio with theCUBE at the New York Stock Exchange, so we got Palo Alto and Silicon Valley connected to Wall Street. So I get a new perspective. I mean, I'm from New Jersey originally, I know the vibe there, but what's interesting, the tech scene in New York, and now in Europe, it's the same thing. Silicon Valley is great, but now you see it being infused. AI is everywhere. I was talking to the owner who's running the hackathon here. The winners are from countries in outside the United States, competing and winning. Mm-hmm. So you start to see true democratization of technology. And then also that brings up the point of, okay, the ecosystem. The classic, quote, ecosystem play, because all platform success is determined by one thing, two things, customers and ecosystem partners.
Yep.
So you start to see a global ecosystem. What's your perspective on that? Because now you're starting to see the new brands emerge, new companies. Now you have a global ecosystem.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I believe there will be way more local ecosystems than global ecosystems, because there are local problems, there are local solutions that can be implemented, so we see a rise of local LLMs that speak specific language of the region, correct? And we'll see companies that are building around those specific regions, and there will be local ecosystems. And then obviously, there are companies who are going to be globally dominated, and they will see kind of, again, companies who will serve them across all the parts of the world, like in Asia, in Europe, in US. It doesn't matter. If you build a great product, you will find a lot of partners across the world immediately to implement their solution.
Brian Bauman, who's the founder of NYC Wired, he and I talk about this all the time. Micro communities, trust networks, is kind of an open source kind of community vibe. Now you have networks in general connecting, not just communities. Communities feed people, but they're building stuff. So now you have these network effects where there's real transactions and relationships going. This is the first time I've seen in my life where you have full network connected people. And no one's actually built an open system for this. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's hard to say. We'll see how it all evolves, obviously over time, because what I believe is trust is becoming more and more important between people. Internet will be so crowded with all the agents, all the new websites that are built on platforms like Lovable, so there are more websites and agents happening now in like months than it happened in the last 25 years or so.
Yeah.
So I think that we will go back to kind of offline networks and relationship, and the stronger we build those and the more trust we create between like actors, the better kind of advantages the business will
knowing
have.
who's who,
Exactly.
taking it digital,
Yeah.
being on WhatsApp, Telegram, whatever
Exactly.
channels are open,
Connecting with each other.
versus someone says, hey, you don't know me, but I want to sell you
Exactly.
something, or what's this, what is this,
Yeah.
who is this? Yeah, I think trust is huge. Let's get into what you're doing, because I think what's interesting about your company is that you guys are on that wave. Talk about your company. Give some of the stats. How big are you? When did you start founded? And some of the momentum.
Yeah. Miro is Innovation Workspace that helps teams to move from discovery to delivery super fast. And we started the company 14 years ago with a simple idea of bringing whiteboard into a browser. That was just a very simple idea. We did it in a few years. From that time, we developed visual collaboration suite, which allowed people to collaborate visually together across all regions and co-create projects. And just last year we announced Innovation Workspace that helps teams to kind of start with an idea and then shape that idea into a solution and then deliver that idea fast. And obviously we evolved quite a bit with AI, because before it was collaboration between humans, and now it's collaboration between humans and AI.
And when did you start the company?
2011. We launched the first product in 2012. So we are 1,600 people. We are spread across 14 hubs across the world, in Europe, US, and Asia. The leadership team is distributed. The majority of leaders are in the US. I'm in Amsterdam. And we were building this distributed team for quite some time. Like I hired the first remote leader in the company in 2016. So we are running the company for the last 9 years this way.
So you must have loved COVID then, because it's like, hey, that's our world. We're virtual
exactly.
first. You're a virtual first company.
We had hubs, but we operate as a team, as a distributed team.
Yeah, and so right now you're seeing like Slack, for instance, culture kicks in, email's old, no one likes email. Slack is getting to be like email.
Yep.
So what's your vision on the new collaboration format? Because now you have people seeing real chatbots, real AI working, real agents. You start to see the relationship to the computer. We were talking about with Andrew Feldman at Cerebus that the iPhone had that experience where, hey, I'm on the web, now it's in my pocket. AI has that similar vibe where it's simplicity like the web, but that's like an iPhone. The utility, what's the user experience been like for you? How have you seen the change? Because I think this is a moment where your work that you've done scales beautifully, because now you've done the work. Now it's like, okay, now it's accelerating because you can take away all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I think the user experience is changing quite a bit. I think before people were comfortable to spend a lot of time on doing a certain task. So for example, if you do a research, you understand that you need to allocate several days or several weeks to do a proper research. Now you go into deep research and get the outcome quite fast, in like minutes, correct?
Yeah.
That's how the whole expectation is changing, because now it's not just about research, it's about every task you need to accomplish. So before you were thinking, okay, if I need to draw a diagram, let's say, it will take few hours for me to go and do it. Now with AI, you can prompt it and get it right away. So, and this means that the time to decision making is shrinking significantly. So you get what you need super fast, and then you can go and collaborate with other people to make collective decision on this. Before, it took a lot of individual effort to do the work, and then maybe you come and sync, and then you take another few weeks, do individual work and come and sync. Now you can always sync because the individual work is shrinking significantly.
What I love about what you're working on is it really pioneers what I call the virtual face-to-face. Because we love whiteboards. I love whiteboards. Who doesn't like a whiteboard? Get up there, hey, it's what I'm thinking, whether it's an architecture drawing or just some bullets, standing up, you're holding court in a room with people creativity's flowing. That was hard to replicate digitally. And now, okay, so you're there. Now you got action, outcomes. So you're focused on the delivery side. Talk about that piece, because this is where value pops out of the moments.
Correct. So when we started, like, the core focus was to help teams to workshop the problem, correct? And it will take you a day or a week or several hours to come up and workshop the problem, and then it takes another several weeks for someone to summarize, bring it back. In today's world, like, you can come together as a team, workshop a problem, and during that workshop the whole solution, and during that workshop the whole plan and execution plan, and come out of the meeting room in a couple hours and have the whole vision of what you are building, and have the execution plan, who is doing what. And that's completely changing the game, because now you don't need to spend time on this follow-ups and syncs and all that stuff. So I think that's where kind of the game is completely changing now, with AI being a part of the team dynamics, rather than it's being like just on the side as a chatbot.
I'm just kind of riffing on some ideas that's coming to my head. I just want to run them by you. One of the things I've noticed in the old school product development phases is that people have biases in designing stuff. We may agree, but we probably don't agree. And until it's codified, code doesn't lie. It's objective. It either runs, so design documents were designed for that purpose, to flesh out, okay, are we on the same page? I think what you're doing is shrinking that.
Exactly.
Right? So, and if the code doesn't work, well, you're back to the drawing board.
Exactly.
In this case, Miro. So, what have you seen for results? Because I can imagine iterations faster. So that means a higher quality product. Time is shortened. Okay, so those are two good things. Reduced time to do something. Better product. What has been some of the results? Can you share examples that people could relate to? Because I think this is going to be a workflow that will speed up, certainly in the enterprise.
I mean, it depends what the approach company prefers. Some companies prefer to think first and then code and then test. Some companies prefer to code, test, and then go and
recode.
Think and recode, or go back to the drawing board and understand what they're trying to accomplish. It depends on the culture. We see both approaches. Those who are trying to kind of think first, the most important part is like how you bring the customer empathy into that. And customer empathy is the insight that you have. So what we see is like how you integrate that insight and customer empathy in your thinking process, and you don't integrate something that was kind of collected 6 months ago, 12 months ago, but you can integrate real-time insights that, like, for example, if your customers are sending you feedback through the support, and like you can collect it immediately and bring in the customer discovery session and then synthesize the solution, then it not just kind of accelerates the time to market, but it also accelerates the quality per what you're saying. It's just like the quality will be way better. So that's one of those real world examples where before it was completely disjoint effort. And then we can see a lot of this code first approaches with lovable type of tools where people just go, prototype something, see how it works, put it in front of customers, and then figure out if they want to build it.
So you guys can flex between the different approaches.
It depends. Like, it depends on the culture. It also depends on what's the problem the company is trying to solve. Is it greenfield or brownfield, actually?
Talk about the tools that you guys integrate, because I'd imagine that's going to be super important. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have chat? Why wouldn't you want to have video? But I might have something else. And we're in an era now of plug and play. I might want to have a proprietary system because I have data that's sensitive, or I'll use WhatsApp or Telegram or something else, plug that in, or Slack. And I bring this up because I was having a conversation with a developer yesterday around, are you like Zapier? Nah, just connecting people, but no, more like Terraform and Zapier. So like, not to get nerdy, but like that's kind of like two different concepts. How do you think about tooling and how my choices could be? Because I might want to create a fabric that could run assemble and then have like a Zapier-like experience, exchanging data, trusted data. So what's your thoughts on that? Because I think you got to be flexible. I'm sure you have this thought through.
From almost day one, we were thinking about Miro as a single pane of glass. because we are based on Canvas and we allow people to bring any type of data on the Canvas. So for example, we have like Jira integration that is working for more than 7 years, so you can bring all the Jira issues on Miro, refine, do retrospective around that. Now we allow you to bring BI dashboards on Miro, we allow you to bring PowerPoints or Word documents or Google Docs. So all that allow people to see the big picture of work. Because the work is spread across all these tools, but in the AI-first world, the data should be well connected and you should see all the kind of pieces of the work and then how you make sense of all those pieces. Yeah. So it's not like spread across different tools and we connect it through MCP or through APIs on the background, but actually how we bring it in front of the humans who are making decisions. So that's kind of our approach. It's less about integration on the back end, we also have that, but more about bringing it into the day-to-day work, where people can refine all those assets together.
It's a toolbox for the users to do their job. Talk about the back-end integrations, because you mentioned MCP. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of agentic work being done on behalf of the front end.
Correct.
How are you thinking about the back-end integration?
I mean, obviously we're building that as well, like MCP and like we have APIs, SDK for quite some time. So all is there, but our sweet spot is a visual decision making. And when you do visual decision making, you need the data, you need the context in front of you. While if you want to sync that in the back end, eventually you can sync it. The core value is actually decision making.
Yeah, I love the product. So let's get into some of the enterprise dynamics, not to throw a wrench into this, but I will. Enterprises are slow.
Yeah.
It sounds, I mean, I got what you said, but like, whoa, all these tools, it could be an integration nightmare. How are you addressing the ease of use, and how does enterprises roll this out? How do they engage with you? What's the progression? Take me through the sequence of events, because a lot of enterprises are kind of little scar tissue from the big Oracle rollouts, other software migrations. How does this turn into value fast?
Yeah, there are a couple thoughts we have around this. First, we believe that implementation of our platform should take like few days, not few years. That's the first thing. And we've built this approach, which is called blueprints, where blueprints are codified workflows that the company can start using with one click. And then if the company has a specific approach, for example, to customer journey mapping or to OKRs management, they can modify that blueprint, but they can start using something that we have out of the box. And then integration of that into their systems will take another few hours. So that's one thing. The second thing is about AI, because obviously AI implementation depends on the platform, takes very different time. Our belief is to bring AI in the context of work. So AI should not be a net new thing. AI should not be a sidebar. AI should be in the context of work. So for example, if you do a workshop, in one click of the button, you can synthesize that workshop into a summary of the workshop. And in one click, you break it down into tasks and projects for everyone to execute. Yeah. That's what we are building, and this is quite a game changer because people don't need to go to a separate tool and do AI workflow separately. They do the work and AI help them to progress.
It's like a CICD pipeline for work. It's right in line with the workflow.
Exactly.
And you're just assisting them. So the humans are totally in the loop. Yes. They are driving everything.
Yes, and we believe that with Miro, humans actually controlling the thing, because discovery and definition phase is where humans have to prompt the machine. Delivery phase, we believe, will be more automated, but where we will spend our time, mostly on creative side, correct? Discovery and definition phase, what we want to achieve.
Okay, so I'm old enough to remember the whole software development life cycle waterfall process when that was innovative. We all know what that looks like.
We see it in a lot of customers still.
Yeah, that's bad. Well, I should say bad. If you're doing that, get out of that. And then we saw more agile, obviously PRDs, MRDs still happen. Now, it's changed even further. What does the product development lifecycle look like with you guys? Take me through an example, because I think this is game changer, because product managers now get a huge lift with AI.
Correct.
Okay, because that's a big time-consuming step. Get the requirements, get it ready for engineering. Like, that is a huge step. I'm imagining that's going to shrink. Take us through the product
Yeah, I
development
mean,
lifecycle.
we see it internally, we see it with the customers. Let's start with people actually, because it's people, process, and tools, correct? So it's like, if we look at the people, how that dynamic's changing. Before we had this two-pizza team, correct?
Yeah.
The term of like 8, 10 people
Yeah.
who are on one team. We see that it's collapsing, and we see the teams of 3 can achieve the same what the teams of like 7, 8 could achieve before. It's not in every case, but in a lot of cases. So what it means is that designer can do a product management job, engineer can do designer's job with all the tools that are available. I would not say it's like at the level of the best designers or product managers, but
they get directionally correct.
They can get directionally correct, because as I mentioned, for example, insights that we collect from from feedback from customers can be at hand of engineer, at hand of designer, so they don't need maybe a product manager necessary to go and refine the backlog. They can go and look at what the problem is and like deliver that. So it's like that's what we see shrinking. Then another thing is, as I mentioned before, is we see a lot of this kind of code-fast development where you test something and see if it works on user testing or not. Before you would go in waterfall, you kind of do the deep discovery, you do product requirements, you pass tasks in Jira, and then you kind of start coding.
The front end work is a lot faster.
Now you
more and deeper.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, it's just all about like understanding the problem. So those people, regardless of their roles, product managers, engineers, designers, who really have deep empathy to the customer, who understands the problem, they will deliver the best outcomes, and the teams would be super lean to work on that. So
and they're lean.
All
right, so I have to ask you, so and a lot of the successful AI companies that we like can be around for a while. You guys have been around for a while. Let's take Canva, for instance. Their user-generated input is actually feeding the AI and creating a flywheel of value. You guys have a lot of data, you have blueprints. How are you guys leveraging the data? Is that leverageable? Are you looking at that? And how is that, if so, how is that turning into a flywheel to benefit me? Say I love the product, you sold me already, but so I'm going to definitely try it, because we can build products faster now with theCUBE, and we're going to look at that. So like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, so I'm assuming, so are you doing,
we're
feeding this data workflow? Because you're getting a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, we're doing quite a bit. So we are not training, obviously, on customer data. That's what we're not doing. But what we're doing, we're leveraging our community to create all the kind of blueprints and all the templates for customers. So we started this project in 2020. It's called Miroverse, and you can go and find more than 6,000 templates that are built by a community that reflect the best practices in kind of product design, in product management, in system design. And when the enterprise needs to, for example, figure out new process, they can just start with one click and bring the best practice in. So what before was a proprietary data of consulting firms, we democratized that by the power of community. And so community kind of sharing their best ideas, best practices. So for example, we have now a full collection of more than 100 templates for AI transformation, for AI usage in product management and design and whatnot. And that helps, obviously, companies start from something, not from scratch.
I want to get your thoughts on something that came up on this event, that an insight that I'm taking away. It was a conversation I had with Andrew Feldman at Cerebras about horizontal scale and vertical specialization. Obviously it was a model conversation, so it's about, okay, some models are horizontal, some are vertical, they're both happening. You probably agree with that, it's kind of a no-brainer. But he pointed out something that I found interesting, and I want to get your reaction to it. He said that most people look at the market by industry. So if I'm in media and entertainment, which we kind of technically are, but we're digital first, so we're not really, we don't fall in that bucket because they buy other software, we don't even look at that, we build our own. He said, it's not just about the industry you're in, it's more about the horizontal, meaning how big are you, who's like you at your stage? And I found that profound because he's right. I would want to have a Miro instance that matches a under 100 firm, highly digital first, cloud first, AI first, a lot of data, small team, very agile. I don't need to get a template for media entertainment.
Exactly.
I need to find a template for me.
Exactly.
And so who's like me? It's independent of it, so you have the 2 dimensions. Now, I might want to be a bigger media entertainment company, but I'm not there yet. So okay, I might look at some things, but for the most part, if I want to get started tomorrow, I have to look at the horizontal. Where do I fit in my size? Do you guys help that piece? Because I might want to select who's like me. Now, technically, I'd be called a small, medium-sized business.
Yeah.
But we move fast. But so how does that play? Because this is a new dynamic coming out of the models, but it kind of relates to what you're working on, because that's what I want.
That's what we're working on actively, is like this custom blueprints where you would be able to discover lookalike type of solution. So for example, if you run your company on OpenAI, if you have certain kind of products you use like Jira and Notion and something else, and then it's like your messaging is like Slack, or like video communication is Zoom. It's like how all that sets up together.
Yeah.
So we kind of support you best in class rather than one size fits all, correct?
Yep.
That's something that we are working on, because I believe that every company is quite unique, and a lot of tools before were built in an opinionated way, how those tools should work, rather than how this specific company should work. So we are building around you rather than we're building one size fits all that you will just not apply properly for your business. So
Andrey, congratulations. First of all, thanks for coming into theCUBE. Really appreciate what you do, and grateful that you guys are succeeding on the AI side, because I think you're starting to see what success looks like. We're kind of in that harvest stage of, there's a lot of investments. You're starting to see the value extraction. So I guess word of advice for folks adopting Miro or fellow entrepreneurs out there, how to ride the wave. What would you say to them?
It's a great question. We're all figuring this out. I think that first is like try to understand what's the real problem you solve, where you have permission to play, but also where you have permission to win. Because there are so many companies out for the race, big and small, and you need to really understand where you have permission to win. And if you have that understanding, just make it work.
Go fast.
Go fast, because speed matters now. Yeah. Speed matters. Before, a lot of companies were building not that fast, but they were growing because there was not much competition pressure. Now everyone is racing. Like companies are working 996, 997. It's quite crazy to see.
And you're building a great tool to help teams.
Yeah, we help teams to kind of move fast and come up with the best solution. So if we can help.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Andrey, thanks for coming on theCUBE. I'm John Furrier here. We're live here in Paris, France. Bring you all the action. Hey, it's a collaborative environment. We're in person. Of course, we'll move to digital after this event with our digital twin, theCUBE in Palo Alto and theCUBE at the New York Stock Exchange. Thanks for watching.